AITA. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend? So, some context, I met my now ex-girlfriend about a year ago. I met most of her friends and even her family before we got together. We became close and started dating a couple of months ago. We of course have been intimate in this time. Now, over the course of this past year, the topic of transgenders has come up numerous times in private conversations, between just us and conversations with other people. I'm very tolerant of people's choices, so it's never been an issue. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, and we are just hanging out at her place when we start talking about our future, nothing new, and mostly a casual conversation until, well, we had previously discussed marriage and how many kids we want, etc., so when I made a comment about her having my children, I was kinda surprised with her response of, well, they'd have to be adopted. I paused for a second and asked if she is unable to have kids. She got visibly nervous and started choking up a little bit. I started to realize it was a sensitive subject, and was ready to comfort her and talk about our options. It was difficult for her to get out, but the gist was, no, I can't have kids. I used to be a man. I was speechless. I had so many questions but wasn't able to get a single one out of my mouth. She could tell by my face that I was in utter disbelief. I just told her I need some time to think about this and went home. So I went home and slept on it. I never considered myself transphobic, but now I am going back and forth with myself, because I didn't know if it was transphobic for me not to want to be with her anymore. I came to the conclusion that I was going to break up with her, and that it is my sexual preference. I know she is effectively a female, but I can't see myself getting past the fact that she is not biologically a female. I always wanted my kids to be my and my wife's kids. Not adopted, and not a surrogate. I'm torn because while I wanted this, I was ready to pursue alternative options because I really love her, but now that I found this out I feel totally different about it. 2 days later, she came over for dinner, and I was sort of on the fence about breaking up with her. I figured I would do it, but wasn't sure if that was the time. This being the first time seeing her since I found out, it just felt different. I knew I had to do it. She got really upset and said she can't help the way she is. I told her it's not about her, and more about me being unable to move past it. She cried a lot but eventually left, leaving me feeling just absolutely awful. I love her but now I can't see a future together. I honestly felt a little betrayed to have that secret kept for so long, but also understand why she wouldn't want to tell me. I've been in communication with her and she's still upset, but says she's not angry because she knows how it can be tough to accept. She insists that over time I will come around, but I just don't see that happening. Her friends are calling me transphobic, an a-hole, inconsiderate, the works. I basically just tune them out, because she doesn't seem to be on the same wavelength as them, so it doesn't matter to me what they think. So, am I transphobic? Am I the a-hole? Edit. Realizing now that saying I'm tolerant of people's choices was poor wording because it's not necessarily a choice. Should have worded it better. Edit 2. Definitely some mixed responses here, but I expected that. I asked myself if, somehow, she revealed this to me but was still able to have children, and I have pretty much accepted the fact that it's not just because she can't have kids. I don't have any issue with anybody in the LGBT community, but I can't see myself dating/marrying someone who is transgender. I'm not sure if that makes me transphobic or not, but if it does then I can't really help it. It's just not my preference. The fact that it wasn't disclosed earlier doesn't help either. NTA. Not the a-hole. I think you had valid reasons to break up. I am surprised you aren't upset she didn't tell you she was trans from the get-go. That's the kind of information you reveal at the beginning of a relationship. NTA. You're allowed to want to date a biological woman. She should have told you at the start of the relationship, instead of waiting for it to come up. Just because you have a sexual/romantic preference that differs from a person does not mean you hate them. NaH. No a-holes here. She probably should have told you sooner, but it's understandable she didn't. And there's a difference between being transphobic and not wanting to be with a transgender person. Just because you don't want to date a woman who was once a man, doesn't make you intolerant. I'm not personally LGBT, and I wouldn't date a transgender person, but I personally have no issue with anyone who is LGBT. NTA. She should have come clean sooner. It is natural to want your own biological children. Or adopt. Or never deal with kids. Everyone is their own person. You want what you want, and don't want what you don't want. You can't force yourself and still expect to be happy. There is no reason you can't stay friends, but staying in a relationship that you know had no future is pointless. It's better to move on. That's not transphobic. That's just fundamental differences. AITA. Am I the a-hole for dumping my girlfriend because she got fat? I'm M22 and my GF is F21, been together for about a year now. When we met she was fit as frock and really hot, we'd go to the gym together and I was very attracted to her. After about 4 to 5 months of dating, I noticed she would rarely go to the gym, and she put on a lot of weight. Over the next 6 months, same habits of her not eating well and gaining weight happened, and she's put on about 60 pounds in the year we've been dating. I am not physically attracted to her anymore because she got fat, and is not taking care of herself anymore. I ended things last night with her, and just left it at things aren't working out anymore. She was extremely sad, and said she knows it's because of the weight gain, and said she gained weight due to stress from school. I just didn't like this version of herself where she was unhealthy and not taking care of herself, so I still wanted to end it. This morning I get a bunch of texts and calls from her sister, calling me a huge a-hole, douche, etc. AITA? Am I the a-hole? You know, at risk of being killed by the wolves, I'm gonna say. NTA. Not the a-hole. There is a difference between being stressed from school, or letting yourself go due to the comfort of a committed relationship, and gaining 33 to 50% of your body weight in a year. Attraction is an important part of a relationship. It isn't your fault you aren't attracted anymore. YTA. Because of the way you described your attraction to her from the beginning of the relationship, to the end. It seems like you're more concerned with how she looks, rather than her well-being and that she used to be hot as frock. If you really cared about her and the relationship, you would have put in effort towards trying to understand the weight gain, and supporting her rather than focusing on appearance. YTA. Because of the way you described your attraction to her from the beginning of the relationship, to the end. It seems like you're more concerned with how she looks, rather than her well-being and that she used to be hot as frock. If you really cared about her and the relationship, you would have put in effort towards trying to understand the weight gain, and supporting her rather than focusing on appearance. NTA. You can end a relationship with whomever you want for any reason, and you're not the a-hole. You have no obligation to be romantically involved with anyone. NaH. No a-holes here. You have the right to decide when to break up if you just don't want to be with her. However, it's pretty sad that you were only with her for her physical appearance. Ugh. YTA. There's literally nothing in here about her life outside of her looks, and the effort she has to put into her looks. Also, for people very stuck on her apparently gaining 60 pounds in 4 to 5 months, all you've got is this dude's penis's viewpoint on it, and I highly doubt he can accurately gauge it. WTF is with all of these relationship posts where a family member, or friend texts the OP about their decision. Those are the real a-holes.